Hi everyone, hope you're having a great day so far. So we are going to talk about the importance of temperature and humidity and how it is absolutely paramount to ensuring that our adhesives work. Now I've got you on the selfie stick today because what I'm going to be doing is walking around my little salon here that I have home, that I work my clients from, and showing you the devices that I have to have in place to ensure that my temperature and humidity is spot on, so that I can ensure that my adhesive always works to perfection, and then if my clients have any issues with the retention whatsoever, we can rule out the fact that my temperature and humidity was to perfection. So most of us, when we get taught our initial classic lash training, we don't ever get spoken to about the importance of temperature and humidity and how it makes the adhesive work. No one explains this, because if they did, none of us would be doing mobile lashing, because these adhesives that we have here, and they're all different strengths, they are very, very temperamental. It's like baking a cake, okay? If you don't set your oven to the correct temperature, your cake won't bake correctly. You might have all the ingredients there, but if the oven's off, your cake will either turn out to be all wet and stodgy because it's not cooked properly, or it will be burnt. And this is what happens with our adhesive. So listen in, because this can be a little bit technical. So the main ingredient in all of our adhesives that we use for semi-permanent eyelash extensions is cyanoacrylate. And it's the cyanoacrylate that is very, very temperamental. It requires the perfect control of both temperature and humidity for it to be able to work. And there's a lot of people out there that don't believe in this. They're like, oh, no, you can do it, wherever. It doesn't really matter. Trust me. If you've been doing a lot of lashes, especially volume lashes, ask any technician that really, it is paramount that you control temperature and humidity to perfection. And I'm sorry that I'm going to be saying temperature and humidity so many times in this video, but it is so very important to how our adhesives work and the retention that our clients get from their lashes. Because if our clients don't get good retention, they're not going to come back to you. So guys, we need to get this spot on to make sure that our adhesives work. So first of all, cyanoacrylate, he likes humidity best. That's like his best friend in the world. But his second best friend is temperature. So we have to actually control both to perfection to ensure that the adhesive cures. Because if our temperature and humidity is too low, there's not enough moisture or heat to make the cyanoacrylate want to cure. This is when you try to put an extension on and it just doesn't attach to the natural lash, or it just flops to the side. This is slow curing adhesive. Normally you'll find adhesives that are lower down the chain, so the more sort of sensitive, low strength varieties are very thick and sloppy and do that anyway. But even if you're working with a good adhesive and your temperature and humidity was really low, then your lashes just won't bond. They'll just literally flop to the side and they'll fall off. So we have to have it at a good level. If we go to the other end of the spectrum, if our temperature and humidity is too high, what will actually happen is your adhesive will shock cure. So it's starting to cure before you've even managed to get it to the natural lash. So you've dipped it in your adhesive and you think that it's good. You think that, everything's fine. And then you place it onto the natural lash and either it doesn't bond or it does bond, but then when you brush through the eyelash extensions, they start pinging off. That's shock curing. The adhesive is curing too quickly, and then you get like brittle bonds where it goes and it just wants to snap and break off. So if you actually think about it, to baking a cake in the oven, when we're doing lashes, we've got all of the ingredients there. We've got the client there, we've got our lashes, we've got our glue, we've got everything that we need. And then if we don't set our oven to the right temperature, either the adhesive will be undercooked or underbaked, so it'll be big and sloppy like an underbaked cake, or it will be sort of all brittle, although you won't be able to see this to the naked eye. You'd only be able to see this under a microscope. But it will be like brittle or fractures or cracks, like what happens when you overbake a cake. Now, if you're only classic lashing, where you put one extension onto one natural lash, you can actually get away with this to an extent, okay? I used to classic lash for several years before I understood the importance of temperature and humidity. And the thing is, because you're only putting one extension onto one natural lash, it doesn't need to hold too much. You can keep pushing it around until you're happy with it. Also, most classic lash technicians tend to work with an intermediate strength adhesive, and they're a lot more receptive to the temperature and humidity being off just a little bit, but you do still have to control it to absolute perfection. Whereas if you're volume lashing, you have a fan, and this fan, when you place it onto the natural lash, the adhesive has to have cured enough or cured correctly for it to hold so that you can let go of the fan without it closing. And if you do volume lashes and you find that you're putting the volume fan on and then when you let go the whole fan closes, either you've used too much adhesive, your adhesive is too slow curing, or your temperature and humidity is off. So actually when it comes to volume, my God, your temperature and humidity really has to be spot on, especially if you work with super high strength, super advanced adhesive like my Rapid that is on my shop, eyelashexcellence.com. These are what I call divas. They're like the Jennifer Lopez's, the Kim Kardashian, they're the Beyoncés. They want everything to be just right. So we have to give it to them. But if we do give it to them, then they will do the job for us and they will perform. If we don't, then they're going to be a right pain in the backside. So this is why it's really, really important that we control it to perfection when we're working our clients. And now I'm going to go around my salon and I'm going to show you what devices that we have to have in place to ensure that we are working at the right temperature and humidity, and we'll talk about what is the best range for your adhesive. So the first thing that we need is a device called a hygrometer, and these are relatively inexpensive, about $15. You can buy them from my shop if you don't know where to find them from, so go to eyelashexcellence.com and they are there. Just make sure you go to the right shop. We've got the UK shop, the Canadian and the American shop, but we do ship internationally. Now I recommend that you buy 2 or 3 of these, because if one of them fails or your batteries are running out on one, they can actually read a very, very different reading. So have a few of them and place them in different places around your salon, because actually the readings can be very different from by your client's head to what they can at one side of the room. So you've got to get one of these, because this will tell you what your temperature and what your humidity is. Now these conditions today are going to be well off, because actually what we want is our temperature to be between 19 to 20, let's say 3 degrees. Now if you're American, I think it's something like 66 to 74, but please Google it. So if you Google it, the way we do it in England is 19 to 23 degrees. Cyanoacrylate likes those sort of ranges. And most adhesives will work between the percentage of 45 to 55% humidity. And humidity is the amount of moisture that is floating around in your environment, and that's what the cyanoacrylate uses to cure. He uses that moisture to do like a chemical reaction, and I'm not a scientist by the way, but that causes the adhesive to cure, and the heat helps as well. So this is why both temperature and humidity are so paramount when it comes to lashing, because if they're not set, like I'm saying, set in your oven, then it won't work. So now that we know what our readings are, we know what we need to do. So today, my temperature is actually 3 degrees higher than I normally like it. I like to work at 21. I also like to work at about 50 to 51%. So you can see that we're actually 10% over. So if I had a client today, this would be where I would need to set my room to the right environment, or let's say the right temperature and humidity before my client arrives. And this is how we go about doing it. Now this is where it does start to get a little bit expensive, and you do have to invest, guys, but if you don't get this, wave goodbye to your clients. You have to have this, and then you have it for like life. Do you know? Okay, it might break down, but you have to have it. You can't be a cook if you haven't got an oven, and this is the same thing. So this device that I've got here that we're looking at, this is a dehumidifier. You can see it's quite big. You know, it has to be. It has to do the job. This cost me about £150. I think that's about $200. It's an Electrolux one, and it's a dehumidifier. And this will draw out excess moisture. So today, with our humidity being so high, I would have to switch this on if I was lashing, and this will remove excess moisture from the air, and you can set them so they'll automatically switch off when they get to that right temperature, that right humidity. Some of them don't, some of them keep drawing out, but other ones have got that preset device in it. Now I'm going to just move over here. We're going to walk around and we're going to go over here to my air conditioning unit. Now this is, again, really important, because today at 24 degrees, I need to reduce my temperature by 3 degrees. And with a fan, I can't do that because all a fan does is blow the warm air around. It doesn't actually cool the air. So guys, you have to invest in a air conditioning unit. In the UK, we very rarely get hot days in the summer, so I had to spend like £250 for this. This is about $300, really begrudgingly, because I probably only use it for like 2 days out of the year, but I had to have it. What I actually do with this one is I will pull it out and then move it over here towards my window and put the hose out of the window. Because it has a big hose that goes in the back, because if you don't, it blows the warm air out and it just recirculates it around the room. So we don't have air conditioning built into our buildings or our homes in the UK because we don't ever need it. So this device is a little one on wheels and you point it out the window. So those two devices would be on today. Now this little device that you saw earlier, we don't actually need this really in the summer because this adds moisture to the air. This is called a humidifier. So a humidifier will pump steam up into the environment, into your room. So if my humidity was low today, let's say 35, that would be too low. I'd need to up it by at least 10%. I would put this device on, and this device, you fill up water into here, you turn it over, and then it's like boiling a kettle. It just pumps warm steam out into your room, and it will just bring your humidity up. You might also need like a little mini fan heater. So if I look or take you over here, you will see that I have a very little fan heater that just does the job. Tiny, I think it costs like $15 or about £10. And it just, rather than me having to turn the radiator on, it just pumps a little bit of heat into here in the winter when it is really, really cold. So those are the devices that you will need to ensure that you can control your temperature and humidity to perfection. Now, it helps if you have a smaller room, and that's why I like to work from home when I've got my clients, because with the big rooms that we use for training, I cannot control that type of place to perfection because it's too big. These devices won't do it. So the smaller your room, the better it is sometimes to be able to control it. And that's why a lot of people within this industry do work from home or work from very, very small little salon spaces, or they section themselves somewhere off, because I wouldn't want anywhere much bigger than this room. As you can see, let's just spin you around here. You know, it's a good old size. I can train in here if I have a VIP. But if I had anywhere bigger than that, I wouldn't be able to control it. And when you've been in the industry a while and you've had lots of clients and you've made the mistakes that I've made where I didn't control temperature and humidity because I didn't know about it, and I lost all of my clients and had to refund them or get them back in, it's devastating. I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes that I made. So please, please, please make sure that you get these devices and you do control it to perfection. Now, one other question that I do get a lot of the time is that there are companies that sell adhesives that they say can coat between 30 to 70%. I don't know whether I believe in this, because when it comes to techniques such as volume, and if you are volume trained, you'll know that your adhesive has to work to perfection for your fans to attach nicely and for them to cure and for them to hold. And that means that you have to control everything to perfection. And I don't know if that type of adhesive can do that. I just don't think it can. It would be fine for classic lashing, so 1 by 1, but for volume, it just wouldn't work. So don't always be too attracted to adhesives that say that they coat from this to this, because from experience, I found that they haven't. Now, it is worthwhile having about 3 different glues on the go. So I've got, you know, a lower strength one, a medium one, and an advanced one. You know, Rebel that we sell, this is quite a good one for your lower strength one. Then you've got Storm here. We've also got Ice and Tornado, which are clear. And then we've got Rapid, which is our most advanced one. But you have to be super quick and you have to control everything to perfection with this one. And on the website, we have got a chart on there where it tells you the viscosity and the cure time and just all of that to help you, assist you with which adhesive is going to suit you. So I do recommend that you have backups, because some days when you're lashing, your adhesive just might not work. You might not be able to get like your temperature and humidity down, and you've got to drop to a slower strength glue, or you might not be able to get it up, and then you've got to increase your adhesive. So have a few, and if you're not using them like every day, they will last sort of up to sort of 4 or 5 months, and you'll know when they're going off because they start to go stringy and gloopy. Because there's no way that people can afford to sort of have 3 adhesives on the go and then start changing them after every 4 weeks. Trust me, these adhesives do last a long time, but you know when they're starting to go off because they just don't work. And that just comes with experience of working with your adhesives and knowing, you know, how they work. So I hope that has helped you to understand the importance of temperature and humidity when it comes to adhesive. It is very, very important. Like I said, don't make the same mistakes that I made. And best of luck. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments box below. And thank you very much for watching.